right, so good morning to you. Today is Monday, the 21st of December 2020. My name is Kwame Owusu, Danso. Welcome to Good Morning Africa show. Welcome to your most authoritative morning show. Welcome to a show that does nothing but, expose the ills in our society and try to, have conversations on those issues and see whether or not we'll be able to make a headway. I've been joined in the studios by Mr. Justice Hineku Ekufu. Good morning to you, sir. I thank you for your time. Now, dear Charlie, you're helping us. We're grateful.
It's punctual.
Dr. Nawani, MP, re-elected for NAFDAM constituency. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I trust you are well.
Oh, by God's grace.
Yeah, I love your shirt.
Thank you.
Yes, I've seen your designer downstairs.
Yes,
Tell him
that's my tailor.
Yeah. No, now they don't call them tailors.
Designers.
Designers.
Yes.
Mujib Rahman is also here. Good morning, Mujib.
Good morning, bro.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Don't kill the fire before the show.
No, the fire is on. Behind the camera, the fire is on. But I'm surprised Dog is here because the way we work tirelessly to unseat him, I can see he look fresh. So I think God help him. So
what he's saying before. But by the way, let me remind viewers that the WhatsApp number is active. 026084. Pardon? Respectfully. Respectfully. Let me. Sorry. 0260846539 is the WhatsApp number. Kindly share with us what your thoughts are. We're also streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. If you are on social media, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, try and follow me on all those platforms as well. Kwame Owusu Danso is my handle. Share with me what your thoughts are. If you're on Twitter, just hashtag GMA, Good Morning Africa, and leave your message there. I will see it and I'll read it for you. My name again on all the platforms is Kwame Owusu Danso. Kwame Owusu Danso. Now, I think it's important. We were having a conversation, and I think we need to start that conversation before we even, deal with the other issues.
Yes.
But before then, let's look at this African story where, the people in Sudan are protesting for a reform in their governance process. So I just wanted you to touch on that briefly, and then we can look at the other issues. Sir, please.
Yeah, well, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning to my co-panelists, and congratulations to Doctor for his victory in his constituency, representing his people. My greetings to the cherished viewers of Pan-Africa and to my CPP compatriots as well.
That's for sure.
Yes, indeed. Well, Sudan is one of the biggest countries in Africa, and it's a very important country. It has the Nile passing through it, and it straddles between North Africa and Central Eastern Africa. It has had a checkered political history of coup d'etats and authoritarian rule. The last ruler, al-Bashir, was quite authoritarian, and he was overthrown through a popular revolt by the mass of the people. But along the way, a section of the military hijacked the process, the revolutionary process, the uprising, and were able to bring on board some of the opposition members. So let's say it was an unfinished business, because it is not enough just to remove the leader. The whole authoritarian structure and institutions of the Sudan, ought to have been democratized, but it has not gone through the full hog. It is still, of course, they use the leader as a victim. That's al-Bashir, sentenced him to 2 years for corruption, although he had caused a lot of atrocities, both in southern Sudan and with the Janjaweed, who were killing and maiming people in the western part of Sudan. Of course, also with the jihadist, the Islamic Sharia law. There are a lot of human rights abuses which took place over there. So yes, the people, the mass of the people are not happy that the revolutionary process or the uprising or the democratization of the politics complete or incomplete for that matter. And that is why they are demanding for more reforms.
Right. Thank you very much. Dr. Wadi, congratulations again.
Thank you.
How are the people of Nabdam doing?
Oh, they are doing very well.
Yeah.
Let me use this opportunity to greet them in our local language.
Mbanam
Zambia Pan African TV. Camp here also. Yana kwenye mekalo msimla. Na ilim na tum. Ya tumalatea. Camp here also. Yeah, so I've just greeted them in our local language.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I'll continue the good work that have made them to re-elect me. And we should have confidence that eventually things will stabilize in our good country, Ghana. With Sudan, we know that Sudan is a country that for years, even though they call it some form of a democracy, but we know that it was practically a dictatorship.
Yeah.
That was being run over there until recently when their leader was overthrown and sentenced. And I believe that the international community is calling for reforms of their laws because there's an amalgamation of their laws in such a way that some of them, they say that they are Islamic laws, which sometimes does not appear to at least the secular world, that there's fairness, there's justice, and there's the need actually to come out. If it wants to be a country that will be wholly accept, then we should have a situation where they have to work at their laws to come out to fit into what we call the just world. And that is what this, a lot of conferences are being held in Sudan currently to see how best their laws can come to that of international standard. Of course, not negating the fact that they are an Islamic country. Yeah,
okay.
Some of their laws should come up to international standards.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nwani. If you just joined us, you're watching the Newspaper Review segment on Good Morning Africa, live on your #1 station, Pan-African Television. Like I intimated before, you can connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Kwame Owusu. So share with me what your thoughts are. I'll be more than glad to read them out for you. Mujib, how are you, my brother?
I'm fine.
You're looking good.
I'm fine.
You're looking. I love your shirt, by the way.
Thank
it's nice.
you. And I love your outfit.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's touch briefly on Sudan.
Sudan matter.
And then we can come
back.
Yeah,
Kwame, I think that I support the people of Sudan. And if you look at the history of Sudan, this is concerns are deep-seated among the populace in Sudan. But they were not getting the appropriate, the opportunity to really vent their concerns out, especially under the leadership of their dictator Omar al-Bashir. You know, he has been on the seat for a very long time, and there has been suppression of the people of Sudan. And I like the point Doc raised. You know, if we still go to Sudan, it's an Islamic, I think 60% of, getting to 90% of the population they are Muslim. So they factor the Islamic, what we call the Sharia laws, to try to let it become a national law. And Doc is also saying that the international community and the society, the world all over is saying that, fine, it is true, but they need reformation of some of the laws to make it what now we call the just world. So I think that with the exit of Omar al-Bashir, it has opened an opportunity for the people to actually demand what they also want in terms of reformation of some of the laws in the country. So they can go ahead, I support them, but provided they do that within the confines of the law, and I think that they are good to go. So let's keep urging them. And we can also urge the authorities of Sudan to also pause and look at the concerns of what the people are raising. After all, they all want the betterment, a better Sudan to live in.
So you subscribe to the idea of protesting?
Yeah, but I've never, and I've not disagree with protest. Okay. If protests were no good, it wouldn't have been captured in our constitution, 1992 constitution, Article 21. When you go there, and it feeds into the fundamental human rights of the people. So if you do it and do it within the law allow you to demonstrate, and the law also tells you the procedure to demonstrate. It's also very important. So nobody is trying to stifle anybody's right in this country as you try to link it. So, Kwame, and this is not the first time. If we want to recall what is happening locally, Kwame, the system we are experiencing today didn't just come to us on a silver platter. You know, people have to sacrifice along the line. Some lost their life. People have to take to the street and demonstrate, appeal to the international community to put pressure on the then leaders to be able to get where we are today. Absolutely. So it hasn't been easy.
All right.
So I think that, but it was all within the confines of the law.
Okay, protests are also within the confines of the law.
Yeah.
And you properly stated the provision in the Constitution that allows for protests to happen.
Exactly.
Article what?
2:1.
Thank you very much.
I think when you Google it, we can.
No, we will definitely
get there. We'll get there.
Fantastic.
I know we'll get there.
We are getting there.
We'll do justice to it.
We are getting there now. We are getting there now. Don't run faster than your legs.
No.
So let's now come back home and deal with some of the nuances with respect to the aftermath of the 2020 polls. Mr. Eneku, I think it's imperative that I start with you again. Now, okay, let's deal with the issues of relating to the fire outbreaks.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to. But one person, police has nabbed one suspected arsonist, and I'm sure that you're also aware that I think yesterday or 2 days ago, Kaneshi Market, was on fire as well. So maybe we'll just marry those two topics and then speak to these issues. But the good news is that police has nabbed one suspected arsonist. I hope, because we know how politics is played in this country, I hope that the impression will not be created that the arsonist belongs to a certain political party, you know, because that's what mostly they do. They can actually get their own person, you know, to start the fires, arrest the person will create the impression that, oh, it was this ex-political party that sent me to go and do XYZ. So I hope it doesn't get to that. But the good news is that somebody has been nabbed.
Well, in the first place, he's a suspected or an alleged arsonist. It has not been established by any law court that he is the arsonist. So the police should be careful when they are saying that they have nabbed an arsonist. It means, other than that, they'll be prejudging the whole case. But I would like to start it from another part of sector of the whole thing. That is infrastructural development.
Yeah.
The markets are very important in any country because that's where people meet and do business. They trade, goods are exchanged, and money or wealth is created as a result. Anything that you produce, whether it's the farmer who produces it, whether it's produced or manufactured in the factory, whether it's imported, it has to go to a form of a market. And some of the most popular markets we have in Ghana are open-air markets like Makola, Kaneshi, KJT, or Central Market, Asafo, and elsewhere. Once upon a time, we had what we call ASEP, which was meant to put investment into upgrading and modernizing our markets. There were a lot of problems because one, the bureaucrats did not dialogue with the market women and or the traders, and sometimes they went and put markets far away from where it was desirable, and so they will build a market and nobody will move to that market. And we should have learned lessons from it. Again, there are existing markets. What kind of investments are we putting in the market? When you go to the market, it's not the best. Why isn't it the best? Everything is ramshackle. There's no planning. There are too many people jostling up and down. There are no facilities, public facilities to, like toilets and urinals, etc., etc. Hygienically, it is bad. Even the areas, the grounds where the trading is going on, it's not the floors. They are not paved. So when it rains, when you go to Owusu market or Tuesday market, when it rains, it's hygienically an eyesore. So the state or the government is first to blame by not improving the market, especially the municipal and district assemblies, who collect tolls. They generate a lot of money from the market. In fact, a market is one of the most important criteria for the establishment or upgrading from a district to even a municipality in order for them to get revenue. But there's no commensurate investment in upgrading it and making sure that there will be maximum returns from it. That, I think, is the main cause for some of these fires, because there was a fire in Odona, there's a fire in Kantamanto, there's a fire in Kaneshi. I think 10 years ago or around 2015, thereabouts, 5 years ago, these same things were happening. And the electricity, the wiring of the place, you see that most of the wiring are illegal wiring. And so they don't do it properly, they tap in order to escape paying electricity tariffs. A lot of the electricity which can't be accounted for is due to those kind of illegal wiring and illegal tapping of electricity. So it is only in a proper society which is well organized and where law and order work. And when we say law and order works, law and order does not work only for the mass of the people, it also works for the bureaucracy. We should be able to ask from the AMA, look, you, the Metropolitan Chief Executive, you've been around for this while. Let's look at your performance. What did you do to the markets? When you came, what was the state of the market? Now, what is the state of the market? And score him. You understand? If he didn't do a proper job, he should be thrown out. People's feet should be held to the fire for performance because they are paid by the taxpayer. And we can't afford to be losing millions of cedis of money has been lost. Not only by individuals, because it means investments, general investment in the economy has reduced. And I expect that the police will thoroughly investigate this, not give us headlines about they nabbing an arsonist. After 7 days, we all go to bed, we'll forget about it. Because on previous occasions, I've not heard or read anywhere of the real corporates who bent the market. And I don't expect it to happen in this case as well.
Thank you very much. Let me now come to you, Dr. Nawani, please.
It has always been like that. We hear of these fire outbreaks in so many areas. And of course, as individuals or I don't know, what comes out first is suspected arson. You know, somebody who has taken upon himself to do that, or a group of people who have taken upon themselves to do that. But in the long run, we carry out these investigations, like my brother has said, and we don't come out with any conclusion. I don't even remember the last time that all these investigations have been carried out, and even one suspect have been arrested, that this is the man who we've proven in the fires in the country. There were times, not only in Accra, it extends to Tema, burning of, electric poles and bringing them down, etc. And this story, sometimes politically connotated, bringing in politics here and there.
You mean the medical store in Tema?
Yes, not only that, but even the markets. Even the markets. Bringing in, politics, etc., into the whole this thing. And in the long run, you don't see anybody being pinned down.
Point is, it turns out that mostly it's not negligence.
You know.
That's mostly tells out that it's not negligence that causes.
But one thing that we've got to look at, I think that is, I don't know, in the long run, all these first attempt to bring out stories become very, very diverse now.
Absolutely.
And it appears that in the long run, the initial story that comes out is not anything near the real story. And so those who brought out the initial story will not even bring the conclusion back to us that we concluded this way. There were instances even we brought foreign forensic people to come and carry out investigations into this fire. And yet, we did not get anything out of it. At least the report is not out, or it is not in the public domain. So we should now look very well at what is the real cause of the fire. Look at our markets. Most of our markets are very, very old. And it appears that any mistake at one corner, within a matter of some few minutes or hours, it's sometimes even difficult for them to know the source of the fire. And I must also say that we need, you see, our culture of maintenance, our culture of carrying out reform in whatever area that we are. We need to, look at it well and make sure that we implement it. Because at the moment, let me tell you, there are some markets here that were wired in the 1950s, in the 1960s, and they are still using the same wire.
Yeah.
If today those wires are brought to the market, the people will be arrested. Those markets are not fit to be used now. Yeah. And yet they are at the market. We are getting everything wrong. Look, municipalities are making a lot of income from the markets, and yet they don't have any responsibility towards the markets. The stores there are for individuals. Buildings that they go around taking their tours are from individuals. And so the individuals have to carry out their maintenance and what have you. Meanwhile, the municipality, their own is to go and take the market. And that also brings into play the structures that we've kept in place to inspect some of these things, like fire service. In my hospital, the fire service people come there almost every year to take their money and look around and count the number of fire extinguishers that I have gotten. And if it happened that some of the fire extinguishers have not been, new ones have not, we have to go and discard whatever the contents and fill in new gas or whatever it is, If you've not done it, they will be on you until you do it. Why is this thing not extended to the markets?
Yeah.
Why is it that, at my outpatient department alone, when I put one fire extinguisher there, they will be on me till I put about 2 or 3 of them there. Why is it that at the markets, because the market, they are more crowded than the hospitals, why is it that they don't do the same? When you go to the markets, we don't see fire. Is it different from hospitals or hotels or what have you? It is just that we say that.
But why are we also not touching on this issue about the springing up of some of these markets, for instance? So that, because most of these markets that we have are not even supposed to be situated where they are situated in the first place.
Yeah,
so there's no proper,
planning.
Yes. So maybe we need to look at that. And
but
once you're looking at that,
once you start taking revenue,
you
start taking revenue from any place, irrespective of the fact that the market sprang up by itself, and you accept that it should be there, and you start taking revenue. The next thing is that all these other structures that are required to ensure safety is played out completely.
No, granted. Granted. But I'm saying that because, you see, nation building requires some level of collectivism, right?
Yeah.
The idea of collectivism is to ensure that everybody, irrespective of whichever political party you belong to, when it comes to matters relative to, nation building or things that will bring about proper development, we must be united in our minds and united in our actions.
Absolutely.
The point is that the kind of politics that we practice, and I'm bringing in politics because every decision, whether education, health, whatever, is political, right?
Yes.
So the kind of politics that we practice here in Ghana, which is extreme partisanship, right, makes it impossible for us to be able to address some of these issues. Because look, you were talking about the fact that fire service will come to your hospital and insist that you bring in fire extinguishers, but will not be able to do same for the other market, for marketplaces, etc. Reason being that if he went there, if the fire service people went there and insisted that these market people provide some of these equipment, it will become a political issue.
Well, it is because of the way we want it to be, but looking at what is happening now, it's obvious that in the aftermath, if we have all these things, you see, we are like the ostriches or whatever it is. Once we'll cry, we'll mourn, we'll do everything. We might even, if it means that somebody dies, we'll give the person a state barrier or whatever barrier that it is, with so many associations going to donate during the funeral. But after all this, we come back to square one, where we don't use the opportunity that some of these misfortunes, some of these disasters present themselves, to do the correction. I believe that if you've ever seen fire destroy your equipment and everything, and the way it goes, if after that you are asked that you should spend some few thousands of Ghana cedis and make sure that your facility or the area that you are is safe from fire, you will not hesitate to do that. And you see that most of the markets, their characteristics is that they've been in existence for so long.
No, granted.
These are not the new markets.
No, but you see,
these are not new markets.
But you see, proper planning requires you to address some of these challenges.
Yes, these are not new markets.
Because society evolved, right? We are expanding, we are growing, we are building, we are constructing new roads, we are building houses, housing for etc. Right?
Yes.
Common sense should tell you that once you begin to expand, all the other things that are old should also be upgraded to the level where it will fit the new evolution.
Exactly.
But point is, we don't do that.
As a country,
and I'm giving you. I just want you to look at the issue broadly, right?
Yes.
If you look at, June 3rd, the June 3rd disaster, remember? Where we said never again, we won't experience floods, we won't do this, we'll make sure we'll desail. What happened? Absolutely. So the question is not so much about whether or not something has been in existence for long. It's about whether or not we have the political will to address some of these issues. When, in 2012, and I think Mr. Heneku cited that example, that we saw some fire outbreaks in our markets.
Yes, a lot of them.
What happened? We made it a political issue, gained some political capital out of it, and that was it. That was the end of the matter. Move forward. How do we arrest this? It's becoming a perennial issue. How do we arrest it and ensure that people's investments are protected when they want to find some solace in the place that they work? They need to make sure that their investments are well protected. How do we ensure that when we don't have the political will? I remember in Koforidua, for instance, and I'm belaboring this because I think it's important to broaden the conversation.
Yes.
In Koforidua, one of these MPP, is it MC or something, right, decided to move the people who were selling along the streets of Koforidua and send them back into the market. It became a political issue. You had some members, and I'm not chastising your party, but you had some members of the MPP government come out to say that the MC should stop what he's doing because they will lose the elections if they are not careful. So how do we address all of these things? If right now, for instance, people say, okay, let's go and break down the whole of Kaneshi, right, the market, build a new one. What will be the attitude of Ghanaians towards that decision?
That is the question. Because, you see, what I've realized is that it is the trust of Ghanaians on the structures, should I call them political structures or the bureaucratic structures or whatever structures that we have. That trust have not been gained by the institutions. So whenever, for example, Kotokraba Market, yes, when they were going to build, the only resistance, which was, at that time, when I heard it appeared legitimate, was that if they finish building, and I'm the one sitting down here, I will not get this place to sit.
Yeah.
If they improve the conditions and bring air conditioning to this area, they finally finish building the market. We, those who are selling here, we will not get the opportunity to buy the same place, assuming that we even had the money. Or they will sell it at a price that automatically, even though I inherited this space from my mother or grandmother, automatically will be displaced. And so
and then it became a political issue.
And naturally.
Absolutely.
And after that,
then your personal interest has not override the national interest.
No. After that, you see, it is up to we, the players, or the politicians, or is it the bureaucrats, or what have we, or the technocrats, to assure these people that no, it's not going to be like that, and make sure that after that we really keep to our word. Did we keep to our word? And so they know what happened at Kotokraba. If you now come to tell people at Kennedy that let us put your place in order and give it back to you, would they listen to you? No. And that is where we as politicians, we must fight for the trust of the people. The people don't trust us. It's not only politicians. All other,
you're itching, eh?
For example, For example, the assemblies were supposed to take care of these markets.
Yeah.
Who earn direct revenue from these markets?
Yeah.
Yes. What do? Absolutely, they take revenue, but it appears they don't have direct responsibility to the markets. You go and see filth piled up over there, and it is whose responsibility? What type of who is supposed to work on the filth, and who is supposed to ensure that filth gets off that space?
We are all part of the problem.
We are. Everybody is part of the problem.
We are all part of the
problem. Unless this our political system strengthens certain structures, like the election of, once again I'm going to go there, the election of these chief executives. If we don't get to that place, and make sure that they are responsible to the people, and they continue to remain responsible to only the president, I'm telling you that we will not be going anywhere. The MPs who they try to hold responsible for some of these things, it's only not fair to them. And they are not even always at the constituency or at the place where some of these things happen. We are supposed to operate from Accra. Yes, that is where our work is. And we only hear and go there to visit and etc. Unless we go back to where district chief executives or whatever structure that we have there. Under this
point where an MP's position is unstable. If you underperform or if you don't perform,
and that is because
it has to be me belonging to a political party. It has to be me working for a political party. It has to be me, having some level of connection to a political party or with a political party or whatever, which is how we're here. So that when somebody commits an offense, they say, don't dump this filth here. But let him.
Kwame, in some instances, you can even pick intelligence. That this is what some people are planning. Because we have some opponents or enemies in every country that at any point in time we want to foment trouble. You can't just accept the fact that Kwame is here, everybody like Kwame to be here. No. But that is why the loyalty of these institutions are for the state and not individual. And they swore an oath to protect the state. So if they are sitting back and they are not proactive and all these things are happening, that is causing disaffection to government. It is cause for worry, Doc. We need to talk. Doc, if I want to relate to the audio, because of the audio that the national chairman of the NDC, I'm coming.
That matter is in court.
Kwame, let me make my point.
That matter is in court.
Is it not true? No, it's in court. No, I am not going into the matter itself.
Okay.
I'm not going into the matter itself. But why is somebody is in court? Somebody is in court because it is alleged country ungovernable for the current president and the current government, and which is not fair. So, but Kwame, me, I'm not blaming any individual. My point is that I want the National Security, the Ghana Police Service, the National Intelligence Bureau to be up and doing and make sure that they get to the bottom of the matter and get those people who are behind our recent fires.
This is a knee-jerk reaction. Fundamentally, you have admitted to the fact that fundamentally there's a problem. There's a structural deficiency. Which
fine, it is
structural deficiency.
I came back to the reason looking at the trend. Kwame, we can't have within 1 week two markets are burning.
I am saying,
but it's quite for investigation, total investigations.
So in 2012, when fire markets were burning.
But you didn't hear people trying to link it to other.
So you also policy of equalization.
But no, but people can think, people can relate and infer. Is that
so because you are now making that inference.
Yeah,
you need to suggest that that is what you people.
But I haven't mentioned your name. I haven't mentioned anybody's name. But I think that there could be a group of people behind.
But on this show, you have made a point.
Yes.
That is that the likelihood of NDC being part of this particular process.
You can't rule that one out.
So can you also therefore then say that you are making this assumption on the basis of the fact that in 2012 you people orchestrated that act?
I have no idea of that one, but what I am referring to one is the recent one. But it is your opinion based on what happened that time.
You have an experience.
No, but I'm saying
to be able to make an emphatic statement.
We are living in this country. Let's be fair. Even from voting up to now, we have not experienced.
Yeah.
Just after voting, some people are disputing the results, and we have seen markets burning. And now you are linking it to maybe it could be fault of electric cables. It could be other factors. But I'm saying the trend and the way it's happening. Let's be fair to ourselves. But not concluding that exactly it is. So we have state institutions that are responsible and are equipped and are up to the task that can get to the bottom of the matter. Kwame, and feed the public of this country. What is happening? We need to know as a country.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Well, we are not in a safe state. We need to know, Kwame. We need to know.
You need to